Yeah. I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of overthinking, but
Yo, what's
hey,
up,
man,
bro?
what's up, my man? What's cooking?
It's all good. It's all good.
How's everything been?
All good, man. Locked up in my house because I don't want to get the fucking virus.
Yeah, man. I
Well,
mean,
to be
dude.
honest, I've been going out a little bit, but obviously only to
Oh,
the
really? You have been?
supermarket.
You have been? Really? I thought you hadn't been.
No, to the
According to what you
super
have told
fucking
me
market,
before.
bro. I need to
Oh,
eat.
okay.
I'm not a fucking
Well,
cow. I don't eat
well,
grass.
I mean, that's as much as
Yeah,
you're gonna go out for the time being, right? Like,
yeah. Until
I
I
mean, if
get
you're gonna end responsibly, like
some heroin on my
a
arm,
vaccine, yeah,
just
exactly.
fucking,
Are you in
not
any
being.
way are you in any way concerned about the vaccine? Like the potential side effects and stuff. Like I know they've been studied thoroughly, but like, um, are you in any way sort of concerned about that? Like,
I've been getting vaccinated since I was like fucking 4. So
oh no,
I
no, I don't mean vaccines in general. I mean like this particular vaccine. Like,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's the same as other vaccines, bro.
I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, because the vaccine is certainly fucking needed, dude. It's a medical emergency and
The
everything. Like,
fingers are pointing to
just
you.
saying, like it's conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
Not at all, man. Not what I want to be
No, no,
associated
not
with.
at all, man. No, not at all.
Not at all. Um,
Aliens.
no, but yeah, dude. I mean, if you really think about it, like
I mean,
the amount of
it's.
time it's gonna take for for a substantial amount of people to be vaccinated is it's gonna be somewhere around the area of 2 years or so, right? Like
Um,
there's a
I heard that by summer, most of the population in Europe, like 70% of it, has to be vaccinated. I don't know how true that is. I don't trust
yeah,
politicians because they're very
yeah,
good at talking shit. That's why I'm studying
yeah.
that because I talk a lot of shit. But yeah, I don't
But I mean,
think like 70%, bro, of the total population of Europe is a pretty big number. That's
yeah, it's quite a
why
lot.
politicians should
Unfortunately,
take math classes.
yeah, 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 man, definitely. No, I mean, and I think like definitely the prospects for Europe are way better than ours here in Central America.
Well, I
Um,
mean, I
well,
don't
some countries
I
in
don't
Central
know,
America
man. Cause I mean, to be
doing pretty
honest,
well.
like in Europe, like in Central America, we're used to like the vaccines. They just tell you like vaccinate yourself. Yeah, 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 let's go vaccinate.
Yeah.
Here in Europe is like, no, I ain't gonna vaccinate. Fucking
Yeah.
5G brings the virus,
Oh yeah,
and
dude, that's
you
insane,
know
man. I don't know.
it's like
Just and the thing is, like talking with those people and trying to make them think otherwise is an absolute waste of time, man. Like you're not gonna convince them that the vaccine is not a some conspiracy to
to
make you grow a
fucking
third tit or whatever.
fucking mind control.
You're just not gonna convince them. Yeah, because the thing is, like, that's where the real problem lies, I believe, when it comes to politics more generally and how information is being processed by people. In that we live in this has been said so many times, in a post-truth world, right? Like, there's a contingent of people that don't believe in facts. They
Exactly.
don't endorse the scientific method or anything. So no matter how many studies you bring to them, how much evidence you cite saying
They'll
that
find
the
one
vaccine is needed,
study.
blah blah blah.
They'll
Yeah,
find one study that says otherwise.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it's like I don't know, man. Like you can't really convince them. I was actually speaking with an acquaintance of mine the other day, and I have, to say the least, very severe political disagreements with this person, and
No, man. What the fuck are you talking about?
um, and so I mean I've tried to, like, see eye to eye to him with him and try to, I guess, meet at some middle point when it comes to our views.
There's no middle
But
point.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely not, man. And there's just so much daylight between us because when you really think about it, like he well, we to tell you the story, I guess. We
Joey,
were
I
just
beat the shit out
catching
of him,
up and
but
stuff, and all of a sudden he just started talking about how, you know, X, Y, and Z billionaire is forming part of this concocted plan or conspiracy to, you know, I don't know, like to implement some eugenic goal or policy and to eradicate the population. And you know what I did? I initially had that sort of emotional knee-jerk reaction of wanting to argue against him, but
to
then I just
punch him in the
took a
face.
step back and I breathed in and I just said, I'm just gonna let this go. Nothing good's gonna come from this. And I just nodded along, man. I just said, you know, okay, because I mean we've had this conversation so many times, right?
Oh my god.
Like I don't know what. How am I to believe that this time is magically going to be different? I don't know. I don't know if you have any acquaintances with that sort.
I have. I mean, we all have acquaintances that kind of go against our fucking like train of thought, but that's
Our
their
enlightened political outlook.
our perfect view of life, motherfuckers. You have to follow our advice. Not just
Absolutely.
kidding. Don't follow my advice. You will be living at your mom's and dad's for the rest of your life.
Trust me, guys. I've done it. I followed his advice, and it's not a good plan.
Yeah, look at him. He's still at his mom's and dad's, just like me. Like, what the fuck, man?
And
No,
besides
but
the news.
at least he graduated. I'm still not even graduated. Fucking failed my exam the other day.
Oh,
um,
you did? Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
I
College is overrated.
got, yeah, you
Yeah,
know, it's,
you can't
that's the,
vocalize what
yeah,
you are referring to.
yeah,
You like to
it's,
verbalize it or
it was a
something.
trauma. It's a traumatic experience. It's
Cringe.
I don't want to talk about. No, just kidding. um,
But
no,
like,
but
yeah, like we
for
all have those acquaintances.
for example, it's actually it's my ex, which I still talked, and even as friends, we actually got into fucking
Yeah,
arguments about political views, you know,
that's
because
interesting.
it's funny because she always argued about like how the system was and shit, and I'm like, it's not that horrible, okay? It's not the worst that can
Yeah,
happen to you. There's people dying and fucking the other side of the world. You live
yeah,
in a fucking house and you have food. There's people without food and in a war, okay?
yeah, absolutely.
And she doesn't. It's fucking. It's like you have to break her head with a hammer. Put a little bit of, a little bit of consciousness. You know,
Yes,
because to be honest, bro,
that's right.
in Europe you live in a nice bubble. To be honest, it's a
Really?
nice.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you have poor people. Yeah, you have like homeless people, but it's not like homeless Latin America. Okay, homeless Latin America is a fucking
Yeah,
tough neighborhood, man. And I've
yeah,
lived
yeah,
there. You live there. I've seen it. You've seen it, bro. I mean, here in Europe, bro, the homeless can actually go like to a place to sleep. Latin America, you sleep in the streets, man. You
yeah,
sleep in the streets, and you don't have food like here. You go to a little house, they give you fucking food, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. Latin America, you don't have that, bro. And
yeah. You don't
people
have it.
and people are like, yeah, you don't understand how rough it is, bro. I've lived in rougher countries than you, motherfucker. you know,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
you don't know where I've been. It's not that I've
yeah,
been like living in those neighborhoods. I've seen them. People that
yeah,
worked with us have told us how rough it is.
yeah,
So I think I have a little bit more experience with rough shit than
yeah,
you, you
yeah,
know. But people still don't believe it, man. And
yeah,
like going to the things about like the political discrepancies and shit, I came up with something, bro. And I was like, maybe I'm not the first one to say it, but to be honest, for a person to understand another person, you have to have that experience, you know? Because if you don't have the experience, I can tell you 5,000 times you're gonna burn yourself if you put your hand in the fire. You're gonna be like, no, it's not true. Until you fucking put your hand in the fire, you burn yourself, and you're like, oh, he was actually right. You know? That's
Yeah.
so basically like maybe he just has to experience something that you have experienced. You know? Like losing
I wonder what that would potentially be. Oh yeah, man. I mean, yeah,
HD
it's
porn, maybe.
I don't
Uh,
engage in those kinds of
yeah, sure.
things or
Yeah, sure.
whatever.
It's like the
um,
guy that says, "No, I've never watched porn." Yeah, fuck you, man. You've watched porn, man. You've watched MILF porn. Okay, granny porn.
so changing the subject again.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Conveniently, surreptitiously shifting the topic. No, I mean, I think you're absolutely right, and perhaps I guess another element to it would be the fact that many times people seem to backwards rationalize their views in the sense that instead of like we would think that that Jonathan Haidt speaks about this. He's a moral psychologist. He spoke and studied thoroughly the foundations of our moral and ethical thinking and what are the differences and psychologically speaking between conservatives and liberals and so on.
Right.
And one of the things he says is that we think people usually think that they arrive at the morals that they adhere to like a scientist, right?
Right. Right. Right.
They start out with no preconceptions. They go out to the world and collect information and they reason their way through. And when they arrive at the conclusions that they arrive at and see what happens to be the case, they go ahead and endorse
Right.
whatever moral it is they endorse.
Wait, but then
So
you're
that's like a scientist, right? And in reality, it's actually the other way around. Instead of instead of first going going out there to the world and discovering what it is that we think through reason or whatever, um, we first see how we feel and then we argue in
I feel
favor
excluded.
of whatever position we feel we are inclined to. So we behave more like lawyers than scientists, right? we
Right.
we start out with the conclusion and then we rationalize backwards. So many people, like whenever they talk about, like the conspiracies, the
The crazy shit.
crazy conspiracies that are endorsed by many people. I think that what they're really doing is they're simply adhering to groupthink because it feels good.
Right. 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 Right.
For some reason they belong to a group of people that holds those
Right.
views, and so
Society.
they
Let's
try
say
to
society.
yeah, there's probably like some subgroup. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily generalize it to the entirety of society, but yeah, like there's probably a group
I mean,
they
if
belong
if
to,
we can put it like in a
and then they
small
rationalize.
scale, it was like in
Yeah,
school, you have the grade, like our grade,
yeah.
and we were separated in small groups, the popular ones, the people that were popular.
I love the self-recognition, man.
I wasn't fucking popular, okay? You got like the scientists, not to say
He's
nerds.
lying, guys. He got all the girls. This guy,
I
he was a
never got
fucking
girls.
bully, man.
I never got girls. My first girlfriend
He
was
was the
21.
popular jock.
21.
She was 21. You were 18. What?
I was 17.
Your first? Wow, man. That's
Just kidding.
how
Just
much of a
kidding.
Don Juan you were.
Yeah, I was Don Juan Orlando. What? We're not politicizing this
Yeah,
podcast,
we're
okay?
not.
It's
No,
just
no, no. That
jokes,
wasn't a
guys. It
reference.
was just
Fuck.
jokes. It's just no, but going back to the example, like it's like in school, like if you were like accepted by the popular ones, you were gonna act like the popular ones, like assholes. If you
Yeah.
were like in the science group, you were gonna act like a science group guy, and that's how you. But I think this, like the big difference is, it's not so much in guys as in girls. I don't know why.
Huh.
I mean,
Really, you think that?
yeah, like in guys, what like it's like No, because you played soccer. Everybody plays soccer, and yay, you
Yeah,
know. But between girls, there's like this. I don't know. There's tension always, always. You know,
yeah,
like
that's right.
even inside the popular group of girls, there was another little small group that was like
Yeah,
the more popular girls. You know, which
yeah, yeah,
doesn't make sense. I mean,
yeah. This
in
makes
the
sense.
guys group, it's just the popular guys. That's it. You know. Maybe
Yeah,
there was like the alpha male, but to
yeah,
be honest, it's that's it, you know. But
yeah,
inside the female groups, there's other groups inside those groups, which was
yeah,
it's mind blowing actually. But yeah, going back to the example, I mean, what you say,
yeah.
it is true. Like maybe like we follow, like we see the conclusion of the, let's say, the group we want to be in, and then we just rationalize how to act, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah, I think it's because we all crave, the safety of the group, being accepted by others and so on. And so, being accepted by the group and not being in conflict with them and, remaining under their protection is a higher priority than attaining truth, whether it's moral or political or otherwise.
well, I
Right?
mean, I that's actually interesting that you said that, because a couple of years back, I actually, yes. But yeah, okay, going back, it's actually interesting that you said that.
Suck my dick.
It's actually interesting that you said that,
I mean,
because
we can
you
still
can
cut
suck my
we can cut it out, man. Like,
yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. Okay.
but I'm not gonna cut it out.
Okay.
But yeah, being being serious now. Let's try to be serious.
That'd be
Yeah, let's try to be professional undergrads. You know. um, it's interesting that you said that, because a couple of years back, maybe months, I don't fucking recall, but I read something about how, like, humans as
yeah,
like individuals, they weren't made to be alone. You know, you, like in old times, you were dependent on your tribe to survive. If you
yeah,
were a loner, you died, you know, because you had to
yeah,
hunt, you had to find a refuge, you had to protect yourselves from other aggressive tribes and other like wild animals, you know.
yeah,
So basically that's where hierarchy came from, you know? Like
yeah,
you went under the control of another person to have the safety of the group. So you didn't mind that they treated you like fucking garbage, because you
yeah,
know that if another person tried to treat you like
yeah,
garbage, they would be like, no, no, no. We
yeah.
are the only ones that can treat him like shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, they
Sort of
will
like the
protect you.
little sibling dynamic, right? Like,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah,
Like if your little sibling gets bullied, you're like, "No, bitch, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you because I'm the only person that can fucking bully this little child," you know?
exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, it's very curious how human beings tend to like subdue themselves to another person or a group just to be part of it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know why that happens. I mean,
And I think that, like many times, like, and this is something else, like, I just completely and utterly disagree with that, many times, particularly people on the right in the political spectrum, they have this notion that human beings are unique in some sense, and that in some way, shape, or form, given that they possess a spirit or something, they lie above, they lie above the biological restrictions that you
right.
were just speaking
Yeah,
about,
yeah, yeah.
right? Like, so the fact is that we have been formed by evolution and that we have certain behaviors deeply ingrained into us,
Yeah, exactly.
that play a part in how we live our lives today. Of course, we might not live in this African savannah anymore,
Right, right.
but our biological makeup hasn't changed that much because evolution takes millions of years.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're essentially cavemen living in a modern society,
We're
right?
cavemen with cell
So
phones.
we don't know how to do this. Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't know how to deal with it, right? So
Exactly.
we're still tribal, whether we want to admit it or not. And I include ourselves in this, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
we, of course, that doesn't mean that we should um, purposefully try to be tribal or intentionally, try to adopt that mindset. But it is undeniable that we occasionally, and one might even argue regularly, fall
Yeah.
prey to that sort of
Well, it's
mindset, right? So,
well, I mean, it's like, for example, it's very common that, right, even now it is frowned upon if like they tell you like, "Yo, where's your group of friends?" and you're like, I don't have friends. I
I
mean,
don't have friends.
I mean, I'm fine by myself, you know. I may have friends, but they're far away. But like here in Italy, like I don't have friends, you know. And you're frowned upon because you're not in a social group, right? Or like if they invite you, like, yo, do you want to go out with this group, you know, with our group? And you're like, nah, thanks. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna chill in my house watching Netflix and getting drunk
Yeah,
and probably just
yeah,
blacking out. They
dude, and
just
that's
frown upon you. You're a fucking
yeah, they
loser.
frown upon it. But I think like in a sense, like that's probably why we feel FOMO. Like pre-pandemic, whenever like your friends go out on a party and you just decide to stay in, and then
Yeah,
you're in your bed, just scrolling through your Instagram feed, and you see your friends having
having
fun at a
fun.
party. You have this rush of anxiety and this feeling like you're missing something,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's probably because it's ingrained into us that
That you have
it's
to be
ingrained into
part
us
of the
to be,
group.
yeah, yeah, to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
disposed, to have that disposition towards being accepted by the group. But
But do you think,
yeah,
like, in modern times, we actually should be like afraid of this? Like, afraid of
that's the
not
thing.
being part?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, um, rationally speaking, it doesn't really make sense because nowadays you can actually get along just fine without friends, without a quote unquote tribe or whatever.
I wouldn't be able to get along
If you're,
without you, man.
I know, I feel
I
a
know.
similar. I have a feeling similar for you.
I fucking know,
Um,
you fucking independent. No, you fucking dependent motherfucker.
but no, I mean like it's what was I saying? I forgot. Um, what were we talking about? I fucking forgot.
um, we were talking about if like is it possible
Oh
to
yeah,
go
yeah.
out
So it's
without groups?
yeah. So like rationally speaking, I think it's pretty easily discernible that we really don't need groups to survive anymore. Like you can get along just fine if you can sustain yourself financially, given
Yeah.
that you're a decently average, somewhat competent person, you can get along just fine. But to understand that at a rational level is different than understanding it at an emotional limbic level,
No,
right?
that is true.
So like you can think many things, right? Like you can think a variety of different things that happen to be true at a rational cognitive level, but the underlying emotions are not in line with that,
Well,
because
actually, like psych like
sort of like
psychology.
phobias, right? Like phobias in a sense, right? Like many
Well,
times,
I
like
mean,
many people are aware that
yeah,
people who
yeah.
have phobias, they're aware. I think they're aware, right? I mean, I know
some some
psychologists, but I
some
think
phobias are like, for example, I have phobias of dogs, but I don't know why. I just get scared of dogs, but I don't know why, because supposedly I have never been bitten by a dog, attacked by a dog, or even like gotten jumped by a dog. So I just
I
see a
love how
dog
you're
and
just suppressing all your childhood trauma and you don't
well,
even
that's
remember.
that's according to my mom. I don't have fucking scars, you know.
I mean, your mom told you Santa existed, dude. Why? How are you to trust her, dude?
Well, I mean, I
She
figured
lied
out
about that.
Santa didn't exist like when I was 7. I just
Really? Wow.
blackmailed my sisters. Well, I
What a
blackmailed my
precocious
parents.
young kid.
I blackmailed my parents, and I was like, well, you know, I know it's you. I'm gonna tell her. and, and they were like, you little bastard, you little manipulative bastard. And from that day
Never
on, they
changed
knew
much.
I was gonna be the next dictator of the world. That's why they keep me locked in the house, you know?
Yeah.
I am not locked in, guys. It's just a joke.
Oh, at least.
Yeah. Um, but yeah,
No, but
it's
no. So, but you would recognize that you're sorry.
no, no, no. Go go
Go ahead.
ahead. You go ahead.
You would recognize, like, despite the fact that you're afraid of dogs and whatever, which I didn't even know because I've never seen you act scared when you come to my
Well, I
place and
mean,
you see my
Peggy is like
dog place.
this.
But
Peggy is like fucking this.
yeah,
Now, if you had like a
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I mean,
that's a good point.
Fuad's dog right now, like even like Lulu, you know, the little cocker spaniel. I was scared of
Fuad is
that.
a friend of ours, by the way.
Yes, Fuad is another friend.
He's probably tuning in right now. Fuad, we
I
love
actually,
you.
I actually invited him for the podcast, and he
Did
was
you?
like,
That's
"Yeah,
yeah.
he's a busy
Tuning in
man,
more.
man.
That's yeah,
He
yeah,
only cares about money, you know. Fucker."
yeah. But I mean, like, you would recognize that the fear you have of dogs is not entirely rational. Like, most dogs are probably not a threat to you,
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
despite the fact, yeah, despite the fact that you it doesn't feel that way. Just
exactly.
at an
Like
emotional level, you feel
even if
scared.
I see like a dog tied up, I get this irrational fear that the fucking rope is gonna fucking break and the dog's gonna attack me, you know? But
Yeah,
and I get
yeah.
scared when the fucking dog starts barking and I'm like, "Okay, this is my time. Take me. Take me. Kill me." You know? Like,
Thanks for telling me how to fuck with you now.
well, fuck you, man.
I'm gonna fuck with you, man. Trust me. You just gave me a weapon, motherfucker.
He's bullying me. He's cyberbullying me, guys. Cancel him. Cancel him.
Man, that's pretty crazy.
No, but I was gonna talk about about how like because it's been said like even by psychologists the human being is a social animal, you know,
Yeah,
and most of the like depression that comes with being alone, it comes because of that, you know, because you feel
yeah,
lonely, you feel misunderstood and lonely.
yeah.
Sometimes you feel misunderstood because probably like you tried to be part of a group but you were faking it all the way, and you're not that type of person, you know. That's why people sometimes just feel empty, you know. um but like to be honest, like you said, like it's irrational to think that right now, like in these times, we need like a social group to like survive. You have a fucking supermarket, you don't have to
Yeah,
fucking go hunt the cow, you know.
yeah,
Back in the time, it wasn't
yeah,
even a cow. You got to go fucking hunt the rhino or the fucking
yeah.
elephant, you know? Now you
Precisely,
just
man.
get like your fucking meat, like, yeah, what do you want? Steak? Here, have it. Have it. We
Yeah.
killed it for you.
And in some level, I think I don't know if you would agree, but like maybe that excessive level of comfort has done us a disservice and has, had counterproductive effects because I mean, and I hear this criticism leveled at us all the time, you know, um, my parents and my grandparents all the time. They always tell me, like
Why do you
our
look like a
generation is
bum?
too soft, you know, well that too. But like our generation is too soft. You guys don't really know what struggle is. You're not rugged. You're not. You haven't really been exposed
I walked
to.
16 miles to my school.
Yeah, and so I guess in some way, in that particular respect, maybe they were more equipped to deal with difficulties. A specific kind of difficulty. I don't know, like
Well,
maybe uncertainty or discomfort.
just remember
Um,
that our parents basically were born during the fucking Cold War. And our grandparents were born if like in the World War II. And
yeah, my
our
grandma, my
and
grandma
our
was born in 1940.
exactly. And
Well,
our
one of them.
great grandparents were fucking born like in fucking World War I. So I think they're pretty fucking prepared because those wars, it's what like you're going to war. You couldn't say no. I'm not going to. You're fucking going to war. How old are you? 15? Okay, I don't care. Here, have a rifle and this fucking pan as a helmet. you know.
Yeah.
So I
And here
mean,
we are, sitting in the comfort of our rooms, just
just talking
uh,
shit.
talking shit with someone halfway around the
yeah,
world,
exactly.
and
But
I don't know. It's
and some people will say, we struggle a lot. Okay, we struggle a lot. We have cyberbullying.
yeah, dude.
I
It's
mean, it is a thing, but to be honest, how difficult is it that just like you get insulted in fucking internet, you just ban the motherfucker, you block him.
yeah,
That's it. He makes another
yeah,
fucking account, fucking report him, bro. You go to the
yeah,
fucking I don't know police and tell him like, yo, this motherfucker is fucking, it's fucking annoying. You don't do something,
yeah.
I'm gonna do something about it.
Of course, man. Yeah. I mean,
And some people
and the
just
thing is,
snap.
yeah, yeah. Some people just snap, and many times, like I don't want to get overly political, but like many times, I don't know. This is just maybe a far fetched hypothesis of mine. I'm just coming up with it on the fly, but many times when people criticize um, certain contingents of the political left when
Yeah,
they talk about how they're being oppressed
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
how belonging to X, Y, or Z identity
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is inherently a condemnation to be oppressed for the rest of
Right.
your life or whatever. Um, there may be just following this instinct to experience some kind of struggle, even if they have to manufacture that struggle themselves and it really doesn't exist to the extent that they believe it exists.
Well, I mean,
Maybe they have everything they need. They live in first world countries, and they pretty much they have food, they have shelter, they have pretty much um, everything that would be needed to live a comfortable life. And now they're thinking to themselves, maybe at a subconscious level, um, listen, I need a struggle. I need some form of struggle to feel like I have meaning in life. And
right.
so they start projecting all of these ideas about oppression and so on onto other people and onto the world at large. This is a bit of an exercise in mind reading on my behalf. This is not scientific in any sense. I just want to issue that disclaimer. I'm just kind of talking out of my ass. I'm just, kind of thinking out loud. So
My
don't
butt
quote me
cheeks
on
are
this.
clapping.
But maybe, maybe.
Well, I mean,
I don't know what you think.
it kind of makes sense, because like, dude.
And some people are actually like really oppressed, right? Like some
No, I
people
mean, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, they are really oppressed. Like
But like, for
I just
for
want to make that
example,
clear, right?
right? For
Make sure that
example, like,
caveat.
yeah, because maybe some people are like, oh, you're bashing on us. You're bashing on
Yeah.
us, huh?
No, no, no.
No, we're not bashing on anyone, okay? I'm the first one to say that, like, I whine about my fucking university. I go to a fucking private university, okay? And I
Yeah.
whine
Yeah.
about that I am not passing. And my parents are fucking, I'm fucking privileged. I have to say it. I'm fucking privileged. I have more privilege than some
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I can get private education. I live in a nice house. I have food. I have two cars. You know, not a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
people have that.
Yeah.
And I still whine about because probably I feel that I need like some type of struggle, to like actually say like, yeah, I struggled in life, I
Yeah.
worked my ass off to to
Yeah.
to be where I am. No, motherfucker. My parents bought all of this for me, okay? And I'm admitting it, bro. I
Yeah.
literally the only things I have bought were like this shit cuz my grandma gave me like the money and my birthday and this shit cuz I paid my dad with my birthday money also.
Yeah.
And that's it. But the rest, like all of this, is the work of my parents. I'm not,
Yeah.
and to be honest, that's why maybe I'm starting like at 26, finally maturing, just wanting like to actually. I don't know, just finish university. I started Twitch streaming and the YouTube channel, because I mean, I feel comfortable with making money out of like these platforms, you know?
You're
Obviously,
just doing it for the money
I'm
then,
just doing
really?
it
Like
for
you
the
don't
money,
really
man.
care about your
No, I
listeners?
don't fucking care. No, just kidding. um, but to be honest, bro, I
Just kidding.
mean, yeah, I know. I mean, but to be honest, like I started Twitch because I was in lockdown. I wasn't doing shit. I played like 24/7, and I'm like, let's just stream. You know, let's just make a YouTube channel. You know, why not? I always wanted to start a YouTube channel. I just started it, and yeah, but like I wouldn't have been able to if my parents didn't get it. Like we're in a privileged like state that we haven't had to work to get our shit, you know? Cuz there's people, I know people that have bought all their shit, like all their fucking shit that have been working since they're like 7 fucking teen, okay? At 17 I was
Yeah,
eating Crayolas.
yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah.
um
And they probably have a deeper appreciation for,
once you start
everything
earning
that they
like
had.
once you start earning your shit, and my mom my dad have always told me like when you graduate and when you start like earning your money, you're gonna feel so like I don't know like um um grateful, so like you will appreciate the things you buy, you know, because it
Yeah,
comes from your work, your time, like you spend time to get that money to buy that shit, you know, and it's not like you just ask for it and we buy it for you. It's
yeah,
not that easy step. You have to wait for a fucking salary to buy your fucking shit. And they say like it's the best feeling ever cuz basically at that moment you realize how hard it is to buy this fucking phone, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I think you're a good example, a case in point
You're a
when it
good
comes to,
example to study, you know, you little piece of shit.
is your dad, right? Like your dad, if I'm not mistaken, like he migrated from Italy to Central America at a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
young age, and he
He
started
was like
working and
20
everything.
years old.
He started making a living by himself and everything, like at a very young age, right? And he's been like really successful,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I
yeah,
mean,
it's pretty crazy.
I felt like shit. You know, I've always felt like shit going to that because thinking that my dad, like at 20 years old, not knowing fucking Spanish, he just went to Honduras, you know, to
Yeah,
work. And
pretty
and
crazy.
I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
fucking 26. I know fucking 3 languages. I haven't even graduated, haven't done even a dime, and I'm whining.
yeah,
I'm whining
yeah.
about my life.
The thing is, you don't realize when you're inside the bubble, right? Like you don't.
Exactly.
It's only until you like pop out of the bubble and or sort of
Exactly.
from that vantage point of from the eagle's eye view, you sort of look at yourself, your
Exactly.
situation when compared to others. That's when you really realize. But otherwise, you're just inside of the bubble, so it doesn't really click.
Yeah,
It
because
doesn't just
you're protected by your parents, and it's like biological that your parents will protect you. Even if like you're fucking 40, your 70-year-old dad is gonna protect you. Like
yeah
you're his son, you know. He's not gonna be like, yeah, just beat the shit out of him.
yeah.
Just fucking
Some
beat the shit
dads,
out. Well, I mean, some dads do it, but they won't let their child get beaten by another person, you know?
they'll beat them themselves.
Exactly,
They're gonna beat
exactly.
them themselves.
It's just like the big brother, small brother shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can't
What a
touch my
wonderful
child.
dad.
Exactly.
He claims
Daddy
the
issues.
exclusive right to beat the shit out of his child.
That's fucked up. Do you
If only
imagine?
there were more fathers like that.
I wish my father
This
was
video
like
is totally
that.
gonna get taken down. Oh shit, we're
We don't.
totally getting canceled for this.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Uh,
I've seen worse shit than this. Okay.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, to be honest, until you don't get out of your bubble, your comfort zone, your house, you won't know what it is like to say like, oh my god, I am grateful I could buy, I don't know, a fucking bottle of water with my money.
Yeah,
Because I get, I've been lying to my parents when they say, like, when I go out and they tell me, like, do you have money? And I'm like, I always tell them yes, because I'm tired of them
yeah,
of giving me money. Because if I tell them no, they're just gonna be like, yeah, here, have, and I'm like, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
have. You always have to have money, and you're like, bruh, I'm fucking 26. I think I could, if I get into trouble, I'll just call you, or just call
yeah,
someone. But I don't need your money. But
yeah.
I'm getting
Dude,
tired of that thing of accepting money from my parents at 26.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally understand that, dude. I mean, I think it's something many people are going through, and it's probably something characteristic of our generation, like which is not to say that like we don't have personal responsibility for it at some individual level, but it's probably because of the more general trends that are taking place. Like millennials. Oh yeah, I think I was telling you, right? Like I was reading this, prior to this conversation, I was reading this really interesting article on PewResearch.org. Right? You guys know what the Pew polling agency,
Peerresearch.org,
right?
because that makes it more important,
Yeah, it makes it
.org,
more
because it's an
scientifically credible.
organization.
But they were no, but like they were collecting some information
Yeah.
on the millennial generation when compared to in comparison to Generation X. And one of the things they were mentioning was that millennials are more likely to stay living in with their parents um, for prolonged amounts of time, and that they are more likely to postpone their marriage. Um,
Oh shit.
and I guess this can be somewhat tied to economic instability or something. I mean, the article is fairly lengthy. I didn't read it in its entirety, um, but I
Like,
mean,
if you can
it's
send me the
just
link just to post it so people
yeah.
can
I'll
read
send
it.
it to you. Yeah, I'll just send it to you right now. Actually,
Yeah.
let's see.
Then I'll just post it on the description, and then people can just be like, "Oh, you were wrong here. You were wrong here. You were
Yeah,
talking shit."
wait a second. Just,
But
how
yeah,
the
I
hell
mean,
do I open Zoom? Yeah, let
I
me
don't
see.
fucking know. You brought me into this.
Wait, how the hell do I send a message? I feel
um,
so incompetent, man.
we
Where's?
cannot.
Oh yeah, the chat. Yeah, there's the chat. Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel so
There we go.
incompetent.
Yeah, you can read it.
Oh
Check it
yeah,
out, man.
there it is. There it is.
So so and this was published on May 14th, 2020. So it's
Okay, I mean
relatively
it's
recent.
it's it's re- it's
Yeah.
recent. We're in
So
2021,
here it is.
motherfucker.
So so listen to this part. The
Yeah.
financial well-being of millennials is complicated. The individual earnings for young workers have remained mostly flat over the past 50 years. But this belies a notably large gap in earnings between millennials who have a college education and those who don't. Similarly, the household income trends for young adults markedly diverge by education. As far as household wealth, millennials appear to have accumulated slightly less than older generations had at the same age. So, dude, and look, if you look at the discrepancy, millennials in terms of income, it's pretty crazy. Millennials with a bachelor's, I'm quoting here, millennials with a bachelor's degree or more in a full-time job had median annual earnings valued at 56K in 2018, roughly equal to those of college-educated Generation X workers in 2001. But for millennials with some college or less, annual earnings were lower than their counterparts in prior generations. For example, millennial workers with some college education reported making $36,000, lower than the $38,900 early baby boomer workers made at the same age in 1982. The
Holy
pattern is
shit,
similar for those young adults who never attended college.
bro.
So, like,
But
if you're not educated and you're a millennial, you're worse off than a non-educated baby boomer.
and we have to talk that, like, the dollar in 19, what was it, 82, is
Oh yeah, I
like,
think they control. Yeah, they control for inflation in this. I'm pretty sure.
okay, yeah, because I was gonna
I
say,
think
like,
this is in terms of real.
if you're making 38K in 1982. Fuck, you were
Oh
pretty
yeah,
well
no,
fucking off. No.
yeah, I know. No, I don't think they would be as careless
As
as to
careless as
like
just
not
to.
control for inflation. We're just trusting.
We're trusting them, trusting this site.
Should we do so?
I
Let
don't
us know
know.
your thoughts in the comments below, guys.
They're gonna be like, "Fuck you guys, fuck you, you fucking
I mean, there's
privileged
a bunch
white
of interesting
males."
things. Are we really white though? Like, you think we're white? We're technically minorities, aren't we?
Well, we're
We're
you're
Latinos.
a double minority.
Because I'm Latino and
Arab.
oh man, okay.
And I'm
Am I
I'm
really?
yeah, I mean you're
Yeah.
Palestinian. Dude,
I
you're
don't know if I would call myself like Arab though. Like, would I? Because I mean, sure, my grandparents and everything, but like they're Arab and everything.
well, I
But
mean, so if your grandparents are Arabs, you're Arab.
I don't know. It's just that I've been raised in a different society
It's
and
just that
everything.
I don't want to
I
accept
feel
being.
more at home in Atlanta. I just feel more at home in Atlanta now and
Well, I
stuff.
mean that
So
is true.
I mean, I
That is
guess,
true.
but yeah, I mean, much in the same way, right? Like you're Italian, but you probably feel more at home here, right?
I
Against
mean, my
Germans.
mom's Latin, my dad's Italian, so I'm literally
So
split in half.
yeah, you're
But
a hybrid.
I'm a hybrid. I'm the new human being. I'm the superior human being.
Look at this. This is pretty interesting. Voting. Younger generations now make up a clear majority. This in terms of the majority of America's voting eligible population. As of November 2018, nearly 6 in 10 adults eligible to vote, 59%, were from one of these three generations, with boomers and older generations making up the other 41%. However, young adults have historically been less likely to vote than their older counterparts, and these younger generations have followed the same pattern, turning out to vote at lower rates than older generations in recent elections. In the 2016 election, millennials and Gen Xers cast more votes than boomers and older generations, giving the younger generations a slight majority of total votes cast. Um, yeah, this is.
So
I don't think we realize
basically,
this, right?
so basically, the
Like the
voters are a younger population now. Like more younger voters are like going in
yeah,
to vote.
yeah. At least in the United States, like the majority of people of adults who are eligible to vote, 6 out of 10 are belong to generations that came after the baby boomer
Oh, they were
generation. So they're all
eligible.
yeah.
Okay, but
So they're
that
either
doesn't mean that they went to vote. They were just like,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that they it doesn't mean that they weren't. So in fact they tend to go less than their older counterparts according to the article. So
So basically, we're
if you're
more like there's more people eligible, like there's more younger people eligible to vote, but less go.
yeah,
So
yeah.
basically, we're just giving the vote to the past generations. Like, yeah, you
Yeah.
guys vote. You know, you got the experience. We're just young and dumb.
You guys determine our political destiny. But apparently this has always been a trend. So like current young people don't differ from young people in previous times in that respect. So young people have always voted less than their older counterparts.
But do you
It's
think
not like a
this?
new phenomenon that is taking place.
But do you think like this is, you know, it? Do you think this is counterintuitive, you know, to our generations or like to younger generations? For example, like when we get old, you know, when we get old and we got the experience, you know, you do you think like we're going to be counterintuitive to the situation of younger voters, you know?
Like in what sense? In what sense?
Okay, for example, you know, I was talking about, you know, like Twitch, video games and stuff. Now they're a job. you know. But my parents, like my dad, is like playing video games is a fucking job. Are you fucking shitting
Yeah.
me? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's people
Oh,
winning,
okay,
you know?
yeah. So I think you're asking whether or not we're gonna like be unable to comprehend and properly,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess, have an accepting attitude towards the kinds of things younger generations than ourselves
I mean,
do.
not like comprehend what it is, but more like, are we going to like not like, yeah, not comprehend,
Acknowledge them
but
or
like not accepting. Do you get it? Like we
yeah.
accept what they say, but to the extent that we don't understand their technology and their way of living, just as our parents or like Generation X or whatever
Oh,
doesn't understand the technology nowadays, you know?
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I think so like I think you're asking whether or not we're likely to like get left behind in much of the same way that some generations that are not particularly technologically savvy are being left
Exactly,
behind
exactly.
now with the current trends,
Exactly. Like the
or
Generation X is like directly influencing our like future by because of their like technological, you know, barrier. So when we get old, obviously technology is gonna advance. It's not gonna be like we'll be probably fucking, you know, zooming from our arms. You know, fucking screen comes out of our arm. You know,
exactly. Yeah,
um,
yeah.
but like, I mean, will we be like that barrier for the younger
Oh,
generation?
well, that's a really good question, man. I think there's always a tendency towards the status quo, right? Like we all have personal incentives,
Obviously,
and
obviously.
and if the way everything is structured at the current moment happens to benefit you, you're naturally going to have some amount of resistance to things towards things changing, right? So maybe, we adopt a certain set of technologies right now, and then when we're 30, 40, 50 or whatever, um, the new generation starts creating new technologies that push out the ones that we have become acquainted with. I think it's going to be natural for many of us to, you know, be a little bit, I guess not hostile, but
Like
unfriendly
rejected,
towards those changes. Yeah.
rejected to a
Yeah.
certain
But
point.
that depends on the person, right? Because like it's your it's ultimately like our individual responsibility. Well, I don't know if it's ultimately completely our responsibility, but like in a sense, you have a lot of power as an individual person to adapt to the changes that are taking place, right? Like you can pretty much learn anything nowadays. You just log onto the internet
Right.
and you can learn anything from programming to designing skills and
That is true.
everything else. Everything is pretty much on the menu. So if
That
you
is
have
true.
the incentive, I mean,
But like, for example, I don't I don't recall when I saw this, but it was like when Facebook, you know, the privacy shit happened, and they called Mark
yeah,
Zuckerberg
the Cambridge
to.
Analytica stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But if you saw like the congressmen that were there and were
Oh
asking
yeah,
Mark Zuckerberg the questions,
yeah,
they didn't actually understand Facebook, you know? It was like
yeah,
they were talking like if it was like this evil machine of
yeah,
collecting data. I mean, it collects your
yeah,
data, but it's like, bruh, like everywhere. Like even in old times, you had to put your name and your fucking street address, you know?
yeah, yeah,
But they were like resisting this new way of collecting data and how it is being processed and shit, you know?
yeah,
But it's like that thing that the governments are old people trying to enforce their views on technology and younger like generations, you know? Like
yeah,
technology is still gonna evolve, man. Like it won't stop. And the question is like, do the governments and like, do they have to be like younger? Do we need younger people in governments?
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's I think that's a really smart criticism. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day that was precisely talking about that point that, most, I don't know if most, but like at least a substantial amount of like politicians are from the baby boomer generation. They don't even know how to use
Exactly.
smartphones and stuff. Um,
Exactly.
so I mean, there's a huge discrepancy, and they need to be equipped like to deal with the changes that are coming or taking place right now. So
But and
I mean, younger people are definitely needed, right? Like, and you can see how the public reacts to younger people running as presidents or running for political offices. Um, when, for instance, you take a look at the president from El Salvador, right? You can see like he's really active on Twitter,
right.
and I
Well,
think he's
Trump was
like,
fucking active on Twitter.
well, that's true. Yeah, yeah. It's not only his true. I was actually thinking about that as I said it. Like, well, wait, Trump actually used Twitter a lot as
And
well,
then they just
but
banned him.
yeah, thankfully, dude.
I
Um,
mean,
but like beyond his Twitter usage, the sort of way of thinking that he portrays and that he has shown to possess or have um, is is very much in line with what young people value, right? Um,
yeah, I mean,
so I think that really resonates with people, with young people particularly,
that is true. I mean, a
or
younger
AOC, right? If you even look at AOC, like Alexandra Ocasio Cortez. Sorry that I interrupted.
I have fucking seen Ben Shapiro just bash on her.
I know
just
Ben Shapiro. I mean, he's not a credible source. Ben Shapiro, dude. I mean,
he's gonna
he's significantly
he's
biased.
gonna destroy our channel, man. He's gonna murder. Um um no,
Like you
but
see these, values, right? Like
yeah,
a
yeah.
concern for the environment, a concern for attenuating the negative effects of economic inequality and so on.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
basically we're
You were gonna say something.
yeah, I mean, I'm sorry I like just cut you off there, but I mean, to be honest, like let's be honest here. There will always
Yeah,
be economical like inequality, you know?
yeah,
There were
yeah,
like we are human beings. If
yeah,
people that are will watch this like in the like I don't know when we become famous if we do,
yeah,
like you have to understand that if you want economical like fucking equality, you have to make big corporations give you shit and you have to work in society to make this shit work, you know? It's not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the new iPhone 12 Pro just for free and I'm gonna get my Ferrari. No, motherfucker, you have to be useful for society and then you get the free shit, you know?
yeah, yeah.
That's what
Well, I
people
think,
don't understand, you know?
yeah. I mean, I think there's a multiplicity of points to be addressed there, and like one of them is like not. I don't think anyone. Well, there's definitely some people who would argue for complete and total equality, a la Soviet Union,
Da, da,
um,
da,
but
da, da, da,
yeah,
da.
exactly. But I don't think like people like what what people like AOC are arguing for is anything remotely similar to that. Like I think like what they're arguing for is some amount of redistribution. Like
Right,
we don't want to eliminate inequality, right? Like we
right,
just
right,
want
right.
to attenuate the negative effects
Yeah, about
that
like
happen as a
poor
result of it. Like
people,
people
home.
should
Yeah,
have, yeah, like people should have
a
like at
house,
least
a fucking
access to
house.
basic health care.
Jesus
Yeah,
fucking Christ.
shelter, yeah. Um,
It's like the
and so
first
the
thing
thing
you do,
is,
like if you're lost in the woods, you fucking make a shelter.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like the most basic thing,
Exactly.
So, um, and when it comes to economic inequality, there's this sort of canard and maybe I guess it's a misconception um, that people who are on welfare um, want to be receiving welfare and that they are all by definition lazy. Um,
That
and I
is,
was actually,
I can say
I,
that is not true, man. Some
yeah,
people like were hard workers and shit, and they just got laid off, you know.
Yeah.
And
Or some people, they're homeless because they suffer from mental illness, or
exactly,
they
exactly,
don't have any sort of mental stability or whatever.
exactly.
So like this is a sort of rumor that gets spread, very insidiously. It gets really insidiously snuck into public discourse, um, and it gets translated into a sort of assertion that everyone sort
On
of tacitly accepts. Like if
Yeah,
you're on welfare, you're necessarily lazy.
a
You
lazy, yeah.
necessarily just want to be milking from the
But
government or
but you
whatever.
know, this is funny because it goes back to the government because they put that idea on society. Yeah,
Yeah,
people on welfare are like
freaking
eating your
right wingers,
taxes.
right wingers.
They're like eating your fucking taxes.
Yeah,
That you pay and they get paid for not doing shit. No, bro. I mean,
yeah,
if like during that pandemic, I was like watching the other day like a statistic that one of two people that go like for the charity food and stuff, to get like fed, like
yeah.
one was never like they never went to that place until right now and like during the pandemic, you know,
Yeah,
during
yeah,
this and that tells you a lot, It's not like because you go and to get food you're lazy, no, no, bro.
yeah,
That person
yeah,
got laid off because economy just stopped, bro. It was like
yeah,
this fucking year, I think it was like the best year for technology but the worst year like for actual physical jobs,
yeah, yeah.
like a lot of people got
Absolutely.
laid off, had to close their things, and it's not their fault that now they have to receive help from the government,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
what? You just let them
and
die? No, man. I mean, that's
yeah,
fucked up.
exactly. And on the other end of the
On
spectrum
the other
is
hand,
there's on the other end of the spectrum there's the group of people who claim that um conversely that all corporations are inherently evil and that we must absolutely abolish them, which is also a bit extremist, right?
I mean,
Because
it's not
many
true.
corporations, they produce a lot of value to society, and
I,
people who acquire a significant amount of wealth usually do so because they provide products and services that are valued
the
by
funny thing
society,
is
right?
that
So
those people tweeted out with this shit.
yeah, that's the irony, man.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, we should abolish Apple. We should
Yeah,
fucking abolish them. But I'm gonna
yeah,
tweet it.
yeah. That's
Where are you tweeting it from? My iPhone.
yeah, exactly.
Who the fuck makes
That's
iPhone? Apple? Oh yeah, you want to abolish the company that makes you say shit. Okay, great.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's pretty crazy, man.
I mean,
But
I think it's just I like it came to my mind just right now. Like, I read a quote from an ex CIA like what's it called, like director, like the top dude, the top dog of the CIA,
yeah,
like in the 50s, and he was
okay,
like, the misinformation campaign is gonna be complete like when the public even like starts doubting what scientists say, you know
yeah,
they will start, so basically they will doubt everything you say and only your opinion is right, and that's basically what I'm seeing right now, bro. Like,
yeah,
there's so much misinformation right now, like going like inside the web, like you get like there's cases that I just say like, how the fuck, how, why do you tweet this? Why do you
yeah,
write this? And
yeah,
then there's people like saying, yeah, you're probably right. I mean,
yeah.
how the fuck do we, how
Keep
did
talking. Just
we
I'll
arrive
just turn
here?
off something.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's. Oh, I see your binary code. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's mind blowing, and yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, man. The other day, like
Yeah,
I think I saw I don't know if it's true or not, but there was this meme, right, of this woman that was like saying like she told her friend not to vaccinate her daughter, right? Because the next day she died, right? And I was like, oh shit. I mean,
Her
oh my
daughter
god.
died.
Like the her friend's daughter died, right?
Oh, okay, her friend's daughter.
She was like, oh, she was only 4 years old, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh shit, like maybe she had like a bad allergic reaction, because that happens, it can happen. But then like you read the fucking message and it says like she got run over by a fucking car. It's not the vaccine that killed her, it's the car. And she says it's probably the heavy metals that were in the vaccine that acted as a magnet and the car came towards her. And then you're like,
Wow. These sorts of like fallacies and thought, and just like
dude,
the general lack of scientific education, it's like we don't have to be a science. Like we're not scientists. I'm not a fucking scientist, right? Like you're not a scientist.
we're not fucking
Well, I think you're gonna be a political scientist, right? But
Yes, I'm gonna talk a
so
lot of
you,
shit and convince people to do shit.
but like in a sense, like you don't really have to be a scientist to understand that certain things, certain lines of causality cannot be drawn, right? Like
Exactly.
like they assume that X is causing Y without really having any
Dude, it was
evidence
like
for it.
the conspiracy about the 5G towers that they
Yeah,
activated the chip that the
yeah,
vaccines would have, and then the
yeah,
coronavirus. It's like, dude, like, how? How?
yeah. And the worst part is, it's sort of like this is actually something I've been thinking about. That sort of like people who endorse conspiracy theories and are very avid believers in very far-fetched conspiracy theories. They typically um, go ahead and adopt this mindset where like they know the truth, right? Like they're the enlightened ones.
Exactly.
And if you in any way, shape, or form disagree, it's because you're brainwashed and that you're being controlled by the elites or the Illuminati or
That's how
whatever.
fucking
And
cults
so
are
it's
made.
this way. Yeah, exactly. It's akin to a cult, and that's like a self-defense mechanism whereby they place themselves on a pedestal and they try to elevate themselves above the quote-unquote herd who doesn't know the truth, who are not privy
Who are
to
not
these
woke, how
to
they
these
say now.
enlightened truths or
They're
whatever.
not
Yeah,
woke.
yeah, and yeah, and it's sort of like in a sense, it's like you get this quote unquote subversive set of beliefs, and conspiracy theories. Um, and people who adopt those beliefs and subscribe to those theories think they are being rebellious and that they're acting out against the system. But that sort of set of beliefs is in fact uh, part of the mainstream in a sense. It's not as unique, rebellious, and I guess subversive as they might like to think. So it's sort of like in a sense, it's sort of similar to how it's become the norm to encourage thinking outside of the box, and watered down versions of thinking outside the box permeate the mainstream,
That is true.
and replace genuine instances of thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah, yeah,
I'm.
yeah. I mean,
Does it
that's
seem like
that's
I'm?
that's like the misinformation shit. That
Yeah.
like even in the scientific community, you saw this shit. Like during the pandemic, there were doctors saying COVID is just the flu. No, motherfucker.
Even Elon fucking Musk, dude. Even Elon Musk,
Really?
he
I
said
didn't
that,
hear that shit.
like the virus wasn't much of a threat and everything.
Oh, oh,
I mean, who am
oh,
I to
really?
criticize Elon Musk? But
I mean,
yeah, I mean, who am I
there's
to criticize him? But
there's just let me see how many people have died from COVID. Let's see the statistics. COVID.
I don't even want. I haven't looked at that in so much time, dude.
Let's see this shit.
COVID amount of deaths. Let's take a look.
Let's see,
COVID death
motherfucker.
statistics.
No, I want to see worldwide, motherfucker. World fucking wide. Worldwide. Let's see. Let's see. No, motherfucker. Worldwide. Okay, bro. So I got 2.4 million deaths. And it's not a threat, right? You know, we have 111 million cases.
How many deaths?
2.4.
2.4 million deaths. That is
Yes.
insane, man. I mean, when you really think about like how people were, I think that, adopting a comparative stance can kind of be misleading, right? Because people used to say, like at the outset of the pandemic, they used to say, um, it's just like the flu. If you take the amount of people who die from the flu,
Exactly.
it's pretty much the same with COVID. And of course, it's not, right? Because the
No, because
more
the
COVID is
fucking
more lethal, but
like COVID is just
that's what
one
it was
year. The
caused.
flu we've had it like for I don't know how many fucking years. You know,
Yeah,
this is
precisely.
this
Yeah,
is deaths in one fucking year. One.
it's a novel virus, as the name
Exactly.
implies.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Elon Musk, please don't say stupid shit, okay? Because I looked up at
Oh
you,
fuck,
you know.
we're
I
gonna be
wanted to
prisoners.
be like you know.
He's the shit, dude. Like
He
he's
is
like
the shit, but with that
so
shit
fucking
that he
smart.
said,
I
his
don't know why he said it. Like, it really gives me like pause when someone's so smart, someone who's like 10 million times smarter than I am,
I mean,
says those kinds of things. Because like if someone that smart is saying it, like he's clearly wrong, right? But like
but
I
then you
wonder like
have
what his
like the
thought
other
process was.
side of smart. You know, Bill Gates says it's a fucking danger. You know,
Yeah.
you have two types of smarts. You know, fucking Elon Musk and Bill Gates. You know, they're fucking geniuses. You know, both of them in their areas. But one says it's like in the medical field. There's like doctors saying it, don't worry about it. And then there's the other doctors that say you have to worry about it. And then you're like, who do I fucking trust?
Like, who do you trust? That's the thing. Um, but I still kind of trust
I still kind of
um
trust my own self.
I still kind of trust what Fox News. I'm just kidding. You didn't actually believe I was gonna say that. Like, um,
You got me
no,
there.
I still kind of trust mainstream outlets like the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal.
I mean,
Um,
you have to
and
believe on someone.
because the thing is, if these guys make a mistake, like these are careful journalists for the most part, and like if they make a mistake, they actually go ahead and correct it. They apologize, and they write a correction in the article and say, the version of this article that was published on this and this date, this and that date, um had an error, a factual error. We reported that, blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
when in fact blah 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 was the case. So they correct those aspects. And if you actually go to Fox News, you'll never encounter that, dude. They just make shit up on the fly, and they peddle all sorts of conspiracies and
Well, I mean,
stuff that is not backed up by
isn't
evidence.
that mainstream media nowadays? It's
Dude,
like
like I don't
they
yeah.
fuck up and they're like, well, we didn't know, man. It's your responsibility if you believe this. You know, you had to
Yeah.
fact check first. You
Yeah,
have
man.
to
It's
fact check, not us. We just give out news. You know, we don't care if it's
yeah,
fake.
exactly. Yeah.
Uh, but
Well,
yeah, bro,
yeah.
you gotta go.
Dude, uh, yeah, I kind of
I kind
gonna
of
have to
need
leave,
a.
buy some groceries and stuff. Um, but dude, it was a bunch of fun,
It
talking
was
with you,
fun, man. It was fun.
going
We
deep in the
we
rabbit
this
hole.
is the first podcast actually, guys.
Yeah,
We had this
it's
in
gonna be the
mind
first
for
of
a
many.
a long time, and this is the
Yeah,
first
it's
time we
finally
actually
taken place.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, we were thinking of incorporating other people, but these people don't wanna cooperate, so we're gonna force them to.
exactly. Exactly. We're gonna force them.
um,
Um, But yeah, like we should do it again.
Yeah,
Maybe
bro.
next week or
Yeah,
something.
let's do it
Yeah.
next week, same day, same time. And now that we are
Alrighty.
not, we are savvy with this Zoom shit, cause yeah, I'm 26, but I'm fucking ignorant with this shit. I just play fucking video
S-
games.
Same here.
But
Well, I don't
yeah,
play many video games, but
I don't play
uh,
many video games. I just read Jordan Peterson, very
Jordan,
intellectual, very
he's
intellectual
yeah.
people. I
We
just
should actually talk about him next time. Yeah.
he's gonna murder
I
us.
have I've changed my mind about him a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
guys, this is.
This is we should actually invite some of our friends, who are very avid followers.
Should
Like
we invite
Marcus,
Joaquin?
Marcus and JJ.
Mm,
Um, but anyways, dude, it was a pleasure talking to
it
you,
was, man. Long
and
time no see. I
take
love
much
the
care.
hair. I love the hair.
Thanks,
I
thanks,
love
man.
the hair,
I'll
man.
I'll try to keep it this way for a while
You
and
should grow like
see what happens.
big ass beard, like long hair. Look like Jesus Christ.
Long hair,
Just go on the street and say like I'm the savior.
like an enlightened man. Yeah, exactly, dude.
Dude,
Yeah.
like if you put your hair like that, you look like an Orthodox Jew.
Well, not
Like
very
the
far
the
from
li-
it.
the little, you know, the
Yeah.
little what are
Yeah,
they
yeah,
called?
the threads, the
Yeah, yeah.
little
But do they have a meaning? I've never understood that.
that's actually a good question. Maybe we should
Because
look
I
it
know
up. I
the
don't
the
know.
I know the kippa is like it has a meaning, but I haven't,
Yeah, yeah.
like I don't know the hair.
We should look it up,
Yeah,
man,
fucking.
because I don't really know.
But yeah, man,
Uh,
we should
but
actually
yeah,
look it
man.
up. But yeah,
Yeah, we
bro.
should.
Let's do it next week. We're gonna talk
All right.
about Mr.
Alrighty, my
Giordano
man. So take good care.
Peterson.
Yes, sir. Alrighty.
Cause I
Alrighty,
haven't
my man.
seen
Take
him
care.
in a long
Oh,
time, bro.
sorry.
I haven't seen him in a long time. But
Yeah,
he
he's a
was
pretty
in
cool.
a
He's been back.
depression, right?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like on some sort of withdrawal crisis.
Yeah. I
He was
heard
taking
that.
medications or something.
Yeah, I
But
heard his daughter was like taking over his channel for a couple of.
yeah. Alrighty, man. Take care.
See you,
See you
bro.
later.
See you later, alligator. Peace.